Hello everyone and welcome to a Cassandra matchup guide. Gonna lead right off with her horizontal attacks and just go through everything. Hopefully this is way faster than Voldo. So Nebula Blade. Really telegraphed third hit, so you should just duck. You even have enough time to go for something big off it. But if you do happen to block it, it is -4 and her fastest attack is 10 frames. So you can probably go for a 4A or a B6 or something like that if you want to. Next up is Slide Knee, which is -12, so you really don't get much, but you get that kick. Then Shield Slaps. Once again, the third hit is pretty slow, you definitely have time to just duck. But if you do block the whole thing, alright, my computer freaking out. Anyway, if you do block the whole thing, it's -8, so you can go for A Slide B or 6A. Next you got Twin Buster. This one, under no circumstances should you try mashing after you block. This is definitely negative. So, just duck. You gotta recognize the 6A animation, kinda. Now the hard part about this is that she does have a mid out of 6A. This one is -6 if, or sorry, Slimmy. Yeah, -6. So just to demonstrate, that will trade. I don't know if she's actually going to go for a kick there, so that's probably a pretty safe option to go for. If you really just think she's going to mash though, you can go for Rising B. I don't know why she would mash while she's -6. You can also just sidestep this and get a back throw. But obviously part of the mix-up here is that you have to duck this one to make it your turn, and you can sidestep this one, but this one will catch you, just obvious stuff, whatever. TLDR tried to react to the second hit. So this, -14. Don't confuse it with the one that's -12, although you still get the punish, you're just wasting some damage. And a lot of frame advantage you're actually wasting there too. Celestial Turbulence, the actual move, only works when she's got Divine Force active, but that 3A is -12, so just showing that. Under Slide Blade is -6, but it puts her in crouching state, so she can't really do much. Oops, wrong move altogether. What did I record here? So, as you can see, this does not work, but this does. So normally -6 things would trade because she has a 10 frame 5A, but she can't use that because she's crouching, so you can get away with 6A even though it's -6. Next is Undertow, really slow, sweeping low. Go for your 14 frame Rising because you cannot get Rising B. Again, just go for your new Rising Mahand. This one, you can sort of react to the impact and duck it, but like many of her other moves, it is -8, so you can try for that, or for your 6A, or whatever. Crouching A is the same as 2A, so once again, just 6A afterwards. Righteous Blow gives her Divine Force on hit, so hopefully you block it. It's only -14 sadly, so you can't really get a big punish, but make sure to take what damage you can when you can. Her while rising A, as opposed to while crouching 3A, is only -12, so learn to differentiate between that one and that one, which looks way different, by the way. Then she's got this. This is the equivalent, kind of, to what you're probably used to with Sophidia's jumping weird mid-low thing. That's the best punish you're going to get off of it. The one that actually looks like Sophidia's jumping move, by the way, goes into a second mid, which hits me all the time on net play. Facing away A and facing away 2A are the same as 5A and 2A, but with slower startup because she has to turn around first, and the A doesn't go into a string. Next, we're going to talk vertical attacks. She's got some interesting stuff here, including this supposed pay-to-win string that made people rage on Steam reviews when she was first released. Oh my goodness, it powers her up. Even though, like, you can just duck it. Or, for that matter, you can just sidestep it, chase her down, and back throw her, which is the ideal option here. I don't think you used to be able to sidestep it, honestly. I could swear I used to get hit for that, which is what the whole incentive for this was. Because this one you can't duck, but you can sidestep. So it made it a sort of mix-up. But that doesn't exist anymore, so just sidestep and back throw after you see BB. She does still have a way to shut down, excuse me, this is the wrong option. To shut down arbitrarily sidestepping with splash beat here, which is actually plus on block on top of it. This one, like the old 5BB string, you have to duck. And it's pretty quick, so it's hard to react. You kind of just have to read that. Her 5BB strings do jail, so you won't duck by accident. But that's where Splash Shield Nova comes in, because this one does not jail, and it does crumple you if you duck into it. That said, this falls into the sidestep and back throw club. And on top of that, if you do block it, Splash Shield Nova is slightly negative. It's only -2, meaning... Oh, excuse me, wrong thing. Which option did I record? You can just kick to cancel out any possible thing she could do, but you don't get to do much else. You can try to hard read with 3B there, however, because she probably will go for some kind of high to try and stretch out her pressure. Know the player, make reads, etc. By the way, this version actually is negative as well. Watch out for getting guard broken. But as you saw, you have enough frames to go for Rising B. Or you can get a guaranteed Rising 3K after that. Anyway. Splash beat is plus. Like so. Meaning that you really do have to duck it. Artemis Dart, however, is not plus. I'm messing up, but you can just AB because it's -8, or you can 6A because it's a little faster. Less chance of messing up the input, so on and so forth. This is -14. This version is only -2, so if you see her charge it, you gotta sidestep. I would say sidestep right, because when I sidestep left, I tend to mess up the back throw. Although that would be amazing in that specific situation. She'll probably tech it. Next we got double meteor, which is -4. But it forces you into a crouching state. You can impact between hits though if the first hit doesn't catch you. So that is something at least. The reason -4 and forced crouch is bad is because she has a 10 frame, so you kind of get stuck. Because even this will trade, and this is punishable on block. Up to you. I would just, if you block the first hit, impact the second one every time, and then go for a guard break or something if you want to not play the guessing game. A+B with Siegfried is uniquely good for that. Oh, sorry, this is a power-up version. Heaven Lift is pretty unique because she's the only character out of people who have really standard launchers where it's -12 instead of -14. Guardian Strike is extremely punishable. Don't let her get away with it. If she presses that on block, she has probably messed up. Elfin Thrust is just a way for her to extend damage off that, and Boreas Wings is the enhanced Holy Smite version. Again, don't let her get away with it. We'll cover Divine Force enhanced things later. Holy Cluster is the quick little knockdown low. If she does the regular uncharged version, you can just Rising B punish. However, she also has this version, which is scarier, because on downed it goes into the attack throw. If you see her doing this, you have two real options. You can, jump, but as you can see that's kind of unreliable, or you can just sidestep. Recommend sidestep right. As you can see, it works more consistently again, but you gotta time the back throw part right. Then there's Destined Greatness, which is another -8 and impacts on startup. So use your preferred post-blocking pressure. Something that's worth mentioning really quick that I didn't cover is her 6BB. I don't know why it does this, but Rising 3K trades, since it's -4 if she mashes A after. However, Rising B also trades, so it's just as valid an option afterwards. For her crouching vertical attacks, Cassandra has a pretty standard crouching B that's nothing to really write home about. It's pretty negative, not punishable, but like -8, so you would think you'd be able to do whatever afterwards. But in reality, the next crouching move she has kind of negates that. So you can't throw out your 18 frame even though she is -8. Your best option as an alternative is either that if you expect the parry, or you can go for just 6BB if you're not really sure what she's gonna do. Yeah, not much else to say about that one. Here's the guard impact itself. It is -16, but you don't really have a 16 frame that can do much about a crouching opponent. I know I messed that up, but there you go. And just to show, yeah, it'll either whiff over her head or get blocked. So your option, once again, is that. Follow it up with something, I guess. Or you can use your fancy new soul attack. That at least sets up a mix-up if you're willing to start up your soul charge. Next is this. Sorry, that's just the attack version of that same. Anyway. Next is this, which is -12, so you can get your rising kicks, but you don't get anything better. If you sidestep it, however, you get behind her, Don't sidestep left, because sometimes you get weird camera things happening that ruin your back throw. I'd recommend... never mind. Both sides have weird camera things that ruin your back throw sometimes. So react appropriately and mix up your throw directions so she doesn't always tech if you do miss the back throw. We got Angel Bash, which is yet another safe thing. But this one you have good options after. You can go for that, or you can just do that. If you actually suspect that she's mashing afterwards, you can get really fancy and do something like that. But you cannot Rising B. It is too slow. She is only -6. If you can time it right, by the way, and you're fishing for counter hits, if you microstep forward A slide B, that will actually combo, and it's like 56 damage, and that's probably your best option. But as you just saw, not easy to combo, and not easy to time. Next up we have Leaping Under Splash. Safe, but I think this one is -8. Negative, it is also -6, so same situation applies, where you can do that, or you can do that. There it is, 59 damage, not bad at all, right? Just something I've never shown in my videos before, so worth pointing out. And facing away B versus facing away 2B are basically the same as B and 2B. That is actually why I had just stand instead of stand guard here, is to show that. Ooh. Didn't switch the move. See, it's just nothing to write home about. Yeah, that wraps up Cassandra's vertical attacks. Actually, her well back turned 2B is quite different in that it's much less negative. Just as a quick note before we move on. So yeah, that's different, right? So you kind of have two real options. You can go for that, which I hate because it doesn't lead anything into anything good, or you can get really scummy and do something like that. Safer version of the same concept. Up to you. Next we've got kicks. Gonna try demonstrating a little different this time. So most of them are safe. So for those I will just show, for example, this is -6. Yeah, -8 actually. Now this is one you probably see quite a bit on net play, but it's actually the same scenario after you block it. So don't let her just spam after that. She can charge it though. Oops. Which does two things. First of all, it seems to go a little farther, be better at catching your back step and going into that front mount, for lack of a better term. Also, it becomes plus, as you see there. So, if you see her charging it up, get behind her. As you saw, she turns around pretty quick. So, if you got the reaction time, it might be best to go for the old standard for this type of move. I would say do it for this too, but it comes out pretty quick and your spin doesn't work. Because as you can see, if you do the spin, she tracks it for some reason. And because it's a weird two-hit, she actually hits you despite the parry going off. That is a new situation since Season 2 started. gave me an unpleasant surprise on net play the first day I came back. So then there's the knee, which same thing as before. It's a pretty common thread among all her kicks. Then there's spring underkick, which is a low. The standard kind of low. Get the 14 frame punish, but not rising B. And you have Seraphim heal, which is kind of like a standing low, little hop low. Same heal. Then you have this, I don't know what to call this. Butt check. So, I think it's -2, but as you can see that... So time to do a hard read here, or you can make sure that at worst you trade with 5k. But Lucifer 6B from Umineko, anybody? Next we have Spring Underkick, which is, you've already seen it, it's just the crouching instead of the 2k version. Then we have Holy Axe Kick. Now this one is very Cassandra. Unga Bunga, plus on block 20 frame mid. I don't really know what to say about it other than if you have the most godlike reactions in the world, you can get behind her and throw her. Good luck reacting to a 20 frame in time to get all the way behind. And it forces crouch too, which just... As you can see, stepping right seems to be better. And you can go for something like that, just react to it with a parry instead of a sidestep if you start getting those funky input buffer, oops I jumped, oops I crouched type situations. But realistically, a lot of the time, if you sidestepped that, you're just guessing because she was crouching up close. And because, you know, her 2k is negative on hit like all 2ks, so if you get caught stepping by that, it's not the worst. Well, this is an annoying one. It is very negative, so I'll put her back to guarding. So it's negative enough, but it puts her back in crouch, so you cannot get the lethal, and you have to 3B. Next is this. Her while rising kick. Oops. Sorry, being dumb. As you can see, same as most other things we've demonstrated in this section. Next, there's this one, which does not work properly in training mode. Forgive me for what I'm about to do. Oh, it worked properly that time. But now, yeah, now it won't ever again, so sorry about this. So believe it or not, this works at certain ranges, just not all of them. Gosh dang it. The game is torturing me. So as you can see, it is -16. There it is. Yeah, at max range, it might whiff like that, and unfortunately, because this stage is stupid, sorry for picking it, that was pretty difficult. At the underground training chamber stage, the starting distance was enough that it was very consistent. So, at shorter ranges, that's a reliable punish. And even at max range, it was pretty close. So her facing away kicks As you can see, it's back to the same situation again. Well, maybe not. Sorry. The block stun makes it a little weird. As soon as you see that get blocked, you gotta mash out your buttons. But it is, yeah, same scenario as all the other kicks. Sorry about that. So, A slide B, if you're not confident that you reacted in time for the block stun though, you still have your old on block mash standard. Then she's got this, which it's a sweeping low that's minus 14, so very similar to her other low kicks. Yeah. And that's Cassandra's kicks. Cassandra's dual button attacks include a few Divine Force moves, but I will cover those later with the special moves. So for now, let's just start off with Rothion Mauler, because I guess she gets cranky with her brother-in-law, question mark. Standard. Oop, got to set up this. Standard A plus B. Like most vertical A plus Bs, you can just do that. But be careful, because if you do it late, you're gonna get lethal hit, because it's not a dodge anymore. Oh, I felt the audio get weird. Centaur Smash is plus on block, so do not mash afterwards. Instead, you just have to duck. It's a pretty obvious animation, so not too hard. Like I said, we're gonna skip Divine Force for now. Alright, Angel Discus, the Captain America move here. It counts as a horizontal, so you can, even from long range, do something like that. And from up close, you have other stuff. However, oh, also this is not plus on block. It's minus 6. And of course, A slide B is still good at low profiling highs, so you can try that too. But if she charges it, it becomes a plus on block guard break move. You can try to react to that if you see it coming. But if you get overzealous with the parry, you might get wrecked. So do be careful. What makes that annoying is that at long range, that means she's got a tracking guard breaking move that pulls you toward her on block. And it's a mid, because of course it is, right? So, at close range, if you see it interrupt, at long range, that's much easier said than done. Especially since it does beat the spin. You almost just have to hold it. You can try soul charging or something like that if you really want to. But it does consume her guard stamina and put her right up close to you, which means that if she tries to do it a second time, you will be right there to just B6 or whatever. Alright, Gaia Quake, this is a weird one, because far away it's a low, and on top of that it's a safe low, because of how it kind of knocks you back. So you can go for that, or what I would suggest, oops, of course I'm messing it up, is step behind her and go for the back throw. It's awkward to get used to, because jumping in this game is awkward to get used to begin with. I'm sorry. There we go. But if you just block it up close, then you punish with a 14 frame like so. So if you block it close versus even up close, by the way, you can get away with that sidestep. She does have an unblockable version as well, which also has the shockwave. So for this version, that's probably the best punish you can get. Or you can just interrupt with 3B because she's up in the air like that. So once she jumps, it's going to be a full 3BB combo regardless of counter hit status. Anyway, next we have Temporal Ascension. I don't know what else to say about it. It does guard break, but it's -12, so just kick. But she has a charged version. It's annoying like that. But since you shouldn't be trying to punish till the second hit, just, yeah. Is what it is. Alright, so now Shield Buster. This one is the one where you can get tricked because that 1-2 there is -12, but she'll just bop you for pushing a button. And this might look familiar, right? That's because it's Keranos Buster, however you pronounce that. Sorry, I was being dumb. Did I record this one? I did not record this one. But yeah, it's Keranos Buster, it's plus on block. So you gotta duck if you see the high coming out. Probably not worth trying to kick punish just in case she doesn't do the high. Shield upper. Wiki says -12. 12 frame says no. This is the one I just recorded, as you may have seen. Doesn't look -12 to me since it loses to AA when I throw out my 20 frame. But I can do that. It's at least -8. So, the key to this one is learning to differentiate it from her shield throw. And once you can do that reliably, it's just... Oops. A matter of dodging. Up close, she does have this variant. But you can still hit her in the back. This, by the way, is only like -4, I think. Let me double check that really quick. Sorry. Yeah, it's -4. So you don't really have much you can do because she has a 10 frame. Go for that one. It'll trade at worst. And since you're already crouching, she's less likely to throw out a high. So rising 3B, maybe. Although, of course, Cassandra's a 10 frame character, and I think that's -10, so you can't get punished for it. It's really up to you, actually. You might even want to try just something silly like that. Or, like I showed you, you can get behind her with 8B plus K. Alright, so this one. What to really even say about this one? There's a method to my madness here, hold on. It puts her in crouch, which means her fastest rather option afterwards is that. see, it's a bit negative. And as you can also see, it's a pain pulling that off afterwards. So, personal recommendation is 5BB or 6AB, something like that, rather than trying to get really fancy with your perfectly timed and not going to come out if she goes slightly past you, A slide B. Also, I hate the way training mode behaves sometimes. Next up, Heaven's Wing. Now this one's an interesting one because the crouch that goes into standing. This one is you can just A slide B. So your option set looks more like that. I'm kind of rambling, I'm sorry. I could have just told you that stuff rather than demonstrating. Anyway, this is the important one. Heavenly Strike. Heavenly Strike is -8, but it's a very quick back turn attack, and as you saw, even on block, she gets her Divine Force buff. But you can't get away with that. Oh, come on, don't guard me when I'm trying to demonstrate things. And you can't get away with that. That's demonstrating -8. So after blocking 6A or A slide B, whatever, as you may have noticed, she gets to, that's the training mode only one, but she does get Divine Force on block, which sets up these moves, which I'll cover later. Alright, I tried this once already and the game crashed, which is definitely a good omen. Cassandra's 8-way run moves. So we've got Angel Snipe, which looks like it should be positive, but definitely isn't. I think it's -8. Maybe less. Might be -6 and the A slide B low profile is AA, but either way it works. Next up is Shield Slap. This one is definitely plus, so you have to recognize that and duck the second hit. She also has a version of that just moving in the upward direction, which is just as plus. So, yet again, just duck the second hit, punish. Of course, she can opt not to go for the second hit, in which case you kind of go back to really close range neutral, but it is what it is. Then you've got Elfin Twister, which is another horizontal mid. This one is -2, I believe, so you trade if you do that. You can react and parry, or you can react and base hold. Weird things happen with Cassandra's hurt box, I swear. Like, she can actually left roll and get out of that setup, I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, Elfin Twister. React with base hold. Or, I mean, you can, if you do block, you can try to kick, but they're just accepting a trade at that point. So Angel's Judgment. As you can see, she cannot mash you out of this. But it would probably be smarter to go for Rising A in case she blocks, because then you can just kick her out of mashing and stuff afterwards instead of possibly getting hit yourself. Now, as you can see, that lands as a counter. So does that. So it's actually just a -12 type situation. The low option to this mid-low mix-up, but you can just avoid the mix-up altogether by parrying the second hit. And getting some damage out of it. Actually, and you have a third option. If I wasn't bad. You can just duck the second hit every time and get that counter hit. Which is pretty nice, because you don't have to play Guard Impact RPS if you do that. Anyway, Raging Splash. Looks like it should be punishable, but it's not. But it is another -8, so do what you will. You got Shield Nova. This one's annoying. It's a plus on block, rather quick mid, does decent card damage, but it doesn't really track at all. So if you just happen to be moving at all when she uses it, you can get the back throw pretty easily. But yeah, that's kind of just a it's my turn now, move up close, watch out for it. Don't mash after it. Tempest is kind of what it is. You cannot Rising A this one, and Rising K, as you see, trades, which means this is -2 or so at worst. On top of that, you can't really spin around, as you can see. I missed the old spin, but you can do that. Just step ever so slightly. That's assuming you can react, which it is kind of hard to do. So yeah, if you block, you can just deny whatever she tries to mash afterwards with the kicks. Unfortunately, not much for parrying, and right, the kicks are pretty negative, so you're giving up your turn, possibly getting mashed after for a little bit of damage. I don't know. Stay moving when Cassandra does, so you don't have to deal with either of these moves. Hip charge. Oops, not doing it justice. So, regular hip charge. As you can see, you can safely press that, or you can push that for a counter hit. Also, she has the facing away version. What's important about that version, and the fact that it exists, is if you remember, she has that really good facing away move here. Come on, Cassandra. Training mode not working properly because it hates me. So that still works, right? But you get an unfavorable trade if you do a vertical with her there. Oh, come on, Cassandra. Sorry. Brain not work too late at night. If you 6A, it just loses. Sorry, that's all I was trying to show. So she can often use that as an easy way to get into her divine charge. Anyway. Oops. Wrong thing. Sorry. So Seraphim kicks. It's a low high. And as you can see, best scenario you can probably hope for is 4A clash into 4A out of the clash, or you can go for that too. If you block the low, just rising B punish. There's no reason to stand and put yourself at like -4 instead of just getting 50 damage. But of course she has a facing away version of this too, so if you block you're fine there. But if you don't block the first hit, then there's not a lot you can really do. So as you can see, it's an unfavorable clash with 4A. Oops, I broke her. So you can kick, but that might be your only option. Or you can 4A and just accept the clash if she's going for it, which she probably is. Another pretty easy way for her to get her Divine Force charge. She also has this, which just seems like not good. Oh, come on. I'm sorry, I'm tired and running mode isn't behaving. There it is. So if you're late on the punish you get kicked, but it's not fast enough. You're still gonna just rising B punish. I think it's still it's -2 if you block that second hit, so there's that. It's a way to continue pressure, I guess. So yeah, if you see the tornado, just probably actually accept the trading kick. Not much else to really say. Then there's Angelic Roundhouse. This is quite a move. 4A wins. That'll clash favorably. Don't kick because she's too far away. Don't use the 16 frame because she's only like -4. Okay, Stardust Strike. This one's actually punishable. As you can see, no counter hit. Counter hit. That's because that's -14. Elfin Dance is just the attack throw version. She can go into Divine Force off of this. Centaur Smash, I swear, is a move we've seen before. It's plus on block, so don't mash after it. But you can duck it and punish. Heaven's Guardian, now this is a weird one. So it looks horizontal, really scary, but if you step late in the animation, you can get behind her and either back throw her or just mess that up. If you start stepping too early, it does track. And you can go for that if you're patient. Not much to say about this. It's very negative, to the point where that even clashes. So she shouldn't be pushing buttons after it realistically. Which means that moves that anticipate her blocking are probably better here, unless she's just the most Unga Cassandra you've ever fought. Next is Hip Bomber. What's the other one? Was it Hip Charge is the one that I mixed this up with for a second. So this is quite the move. Oops, gosh, I suck. I mistimed that. Come on. See, there you go. So it does a lot of guard damage, so you can kind of expect to see it in red guard situations, but it is rising B punishable. Now you might wonder, why does she have a rising B punishable mid? It's really obvious. Well, this is the equivalent of your 3B. That's what it does to light attacks. Meaning, generally speaking, kicks, 5A, 5B, and I think it tech crouches them too, so. Yeah, that's just super annoying, right? But weirdly, sorry, 4A doesn't get wrecked by it, but as you saw, it does tech crouch. So yeah, in some situations where you might want to throw out a 5A, 5B, 5K, that'll absolutely wreck you. Sig's saving grace being that a lot of his moves that he throws out in situations aren't light attacks. Anyway, slide. Standard. Let me check something. Oh no. So, one of your counter hit fishing moves though is a light attack, and that sucks. The more you know. And yeah, that wraps up Cassandra's 8-way run moves. Sorry for being kind of rambly this section. It's late at night and this is my second attempt after my computer crashed the first time. Cassandra is one of those characters that has a few actual unique throws, so she gets a throw section. In addition to the standard array of front throw, back throw, left throw, right throw, behind throw, we've got Guardian's Knee, which if you're crouching or you're getting tech trapped, this is the one that goes into pretty much a front mount position. So that's the basic throw, but she has a follow-up to it. And I'm sure you recognize that if you've fought her before. Now what's important to notice here is watch how she takes her foot back. That's your cue that it's a regular front escape throw. As opposed to Seraphim Cyclone here, which, see how she takes her hand back and her foot stays planted on the ground the whole time? However, look at this, you are still taking damage each time, so just for getting caught crouching by this move, you're effectively getting hit by a low damage mid. So, just so you can see it since I typed it all the times, that's this one for reference. It's basically her other option to mix you up if you get used to her going for that front mount every time. But it's not really guaranteed damage, and it's one of the rare throws that has a distinct visual tell to let you know which direction to take. It does have an enhanced version in Soul Charge, but you can still tech it. Next up is Meteor Shower. Now this one is one of her many ways to get into Divine Force. Probably recognize that. Now this one has a distinct visual tell as well. Notice how she like actually climbs up on you. You can tech it after she starts climbing up on you. So it's, I mean, sometimes you just won't react in time, but it's pretty obvious compared to most throw animations. Then you've got Angel's Embrace, which is her other running up throw to mix you up with that. This one is a front tech. The cue for this one though, it's less obvious, but notice how the camera spins. and she doesn't start climbing up on you, so you can actually tell it apart. Now let's go into the actual front mount situation, because you're going to see a lot of that if you fight Cassandra a lot. I'm going to go to the lethal hit menu for this one, just because, here we go. So, once she's sitting on top of you, she has two options. One of them is the electric shield bash thing, which gives her divine force, and the other one is sitting on your face, which is a meme. So here is, oops, I messed up.
Are you ready?
First one, which that one gives her divine force, so honestly it's probably the one she's going to want to go for if she's not already in divine force, and that is a regular forward tech. As you can see on the menu here, when you're at low health, it is a lethal hit. So if you're at low health and she gets you into this position, probably go for the forward tech. Unless she's already done this 5 or more times, this Titanic struggle stance. In which case, sitting on your face becomes a lethal hit too, and it becomes a real mix-up, which is really scary. However, even after the lethal hit condition is met, you can still just back tech. And that, you know, that's the whole rolling off thing here. Not much else to say about those two. If you're at high health and she's done it 5 or more times, then the back tech is probably a smarter option, and if you're at low health and she has not done it a bunch of times, then the front tech is probably the better option. But if you're at low health and she's already done this to you a lot, you're kind of just screwed, and you have to guess 50-50 with a lethal hit on both ends. You have a lot of time to choose which 50-50 option you're going for, but you absolutely cannot react.
Are you ready?
Like so. And then she has a third option, which is guaranteed damage out of that, but it spends her divine force. So that is Prometheus Flame. So she gets divine force there, and if she doesn't want to play the guessing game, she hurts herself there, but it's guaranteed damage. She also loses her divine force for doing that. Obviously it's in your best interest to not get put in the front mount situation in the first place. But yeah, that covers her special throws as well as her special stance thingy. Alright, special moves for Cassandra, leading right off with her signature Angel Step, which is different from her sisters. The mix-up of Luminous Fall is that she is not Sophidia, straight up. How many of you crouched right here and got hit the first time you saw this? Don't lie. Fortunately, just like the other version, you can just Rising Beam punish this, and there is no low option for her to mix it up with. The only real mix-up, if you will, is she can stop the move early. But if she does decide to do that, really make her pay, so you usually won't see Cassandra stop that one. It just kinda is what it is. On top of that, even if she does the Divine Force enhanced version of this move, it's still punishable. It's not as punishable, you no longer get your Rising P. Oops. In fact, you no longer even get the crouching 3B. But once she commits to that Angel Step A, she's getting punished if you block one way or another. Next up is Angel's Exile. Oops. Struggling. There it is. Which, as you can see, is also minus 16. And then there's Holy Stomp. Also, as you can see, all of the Angel Step options are mids. This one is safe. And as a matter of fact, that's probably your best option. As you can see, this one's counter hit. 14 frame option trades. So, since both your 14 and 16 frame options trade, might as well take that good trade there. If you can react, you can get behind her, but it's difficult. As you can see, this is me live trying to react to it. Sometimes it works, but you're probably not going to see that in time. And as you can see, the mid horizontal has a very fast startup, so it might be better to just block the Angel Step if you don't see the startup and interrupt whatever she's doing to begin with. Of course you can just sidestep. I wouldn't recommend it if she has Divine Force, because she'll probably do the Keranos finisher on you, but you do you. So this one has an enhanced version 2, which is obnoxious. The enhanced version of Helios Meteor Blow, you will not trade anymore. You will just straight up get hit if you push any button. So be aware, if she's in Divine Force, not to try and mash after Holy Stomp. She has movement options, 'cause, yeah, they're just not that different from her sisters. She can sidestep and then go back into Angel Step, neato, right? She can also transfer directly from this into Angelic Twirl, which, by the way, parries mids, but the window is super small to the point where it probably happens by accident more than it actually happens on purpose. Anyway, Elfin Orbit. Yet another move that you can viably low profile with a slide B. You can also do something silly like that. I don't know if I would recommend it. She has 3-hit version. Feels like more than 3 hits, and as you can see, oops, gosh dang it, same frame properties, and you can still just low profile if she does AA afterwards. So I don't know really what the difference is. Maybe amount of guard stamina consumed and amount of damage on hit. Dawn of Notice is what it is. So this is another one where you can trade, but you can also just sidestep left. You can do that very consistently. If you do it late, you'll get hit, but as long as you react to blocking, by the way, it does a lot of guard damage, unfortunately. So you get your whiff punish. Now the reason that I really emphasize that you should do that is she has this version. She can charge it and go into a guard break version that's plus on block. Obviously you won't be trading after blocking a guard break version. So make sure you get your back throw or whiff punish. The back throw is really hard, so I recommend just taking the whiff punish where you can get it. Then she has Seraphim Kick. This one's really annoying. Plus on block, quick kick. If you happen to sidestep, you can easily get her back though. I say easily. By which I mean not easily at all. Sidestep right for this one, I think. Nope, still not consistent. You do you. Maybe the whiff punish is better. Also, she can go into Angel Step out of that stance, so she can switch between the stances while spinning around, twirling and looking fancy. Well, what I want to show though, before ending this segment, see how I can sidestep for a bit before I block. Pretty much react to that. And that's negative enough that waiting to block it isn't a bad thing or anything. So that's my personal recommendation. If you're really super swag, you can try to base hold parry, but strongly recommend against sidestep into base hold parry. Unless you've practiced it a lot, because you'll end up getting chief hold and getting hit. Next up is Divine Force enhanced versions of regular moves. Excuse me. Okay, moving right along to Cassandra's Divine Force attacks, because I did say that I'd cover them all. First off is Righteous Blow. That's her 3A plus K. Oops, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. She does have a 3A Divine Force follow-up, however. There it is, it's her 3A A plus B. Which, of course, is difficult to demonstrate in training, so we're going to use recordings. This one, I believe, is -8. As you can see, the 20 frame gets counter hit by the 10 frame. But you can get in there with a slide B. Next up, we have her two vertical options. The first one is Keranos Punisher, which it's basically a worse version of that on block. A much better version of that on hit. Sorry, I'm not talking smartly today. 6A A plus B is this one. And that is -12 on block. So take your 12 damage. It has a super obvious animation. The next one is 2A A plus B. An even more obvious animation, as you can see. Unfortunately, your AGA is not big enough to get there, even though it is fast enough. So the punish that you pretty much have to accept, oops, and of course I screwed it up, but it is A slide B, which is 18 frames. Come on, me. So, apparently harder than when I tested it, just because of how awkward the block stun on that move is. As you can see, I'm actually doing A slide B and getting other things, such as plain old 5B, like right there. So that might be worth practicing a bit. It is not 20 frames, or else 3B has a delay on the last part of its hitbox, as you can see, so you do have to time it perfectly, I guess. So get used to kind of sort of buffering it at the very end of the block stun there. If you do it too early, the A won't be red and you'll just get 5B, as I've demonstrated so painfully. For the next round of these, we have the 3 Divine Force attacks that I skipped during dual button, and they are basically just 3 versions of the same attack. They have a close, middle, and far version depending on the direction she presses. I should mention though that her 1A plus B is a little different in that it will catch sidestep unlike the other 2. So let's demonstrate.
Hope this works. Good luck. Time to fight.
So there you have it. All of them are +4.
Time to fight.
So you can't really mash afterwards, it's just her turn. And obviously you can't, as I just showed, sidestep the close one. But since it's so close and it's really obvious, you can just hard impact and then do whatever. At least that's what I'd recommend. I don't have many other options for up in your face +4 attack that may hurt you badly if you don't counter hit in time. So that's that. And wrapping up our special move section and our Divine Force segment, we'll start with Karanos finisher, which you have seen before. It is -12. It is her other option out of the floaty attack thing. So you use Rising K, because as I have already shown, crouching 3K does not work. Her other option here is out of her Angel Step K, which is already plus, but now she can be even more plus question mark. So yeah, as you saw, the much slower 236B traded with my 5K. If you need it more convincing. Yeah, it's not your turn after that. No real answer other than you can impact, and it's pretty nice if she does that on block. I don't know why she'd do that on block. She's already plus, and she's wasting Divine Force. But yeah, that's probably your best option there. And it's a level 2 impact, so yeah, you know, you have decent 16 frame stuff. Something like that, right? Last of her Divine Force options. This one's kind of silly, but we'll count it.
I'll show you.
She does have a Divine Force enhanced super that is just as punishable as regular super on block, so punish it regularly. It's not like Maxi, who has a fancy guard break version of his super. Alright, let's wrap this video up. Last we got Cassandra's gauge attacks. First off, we have Shield Supernova, which is a pretty standard super.
I'll show you.
-18. So you can get a nice punish off it. She also has the Captain America version during Divine Force.
I'll show you.
But as I've already shown, it's still the same punish. Next,
I'll show you.
while I'm up close, she has Ruffian Hunter, which is, I believe, -2, and goes into stuff. So, as you can see there, if she tries to do any kind of angel step thing out of it, you can actually just interrupt her with the rising kicks. Believe it or not, I had to make that switch because otherwise it would have ruined everything. I don't know why, but training mode has been glitchier than normal lately. So just to show that it's only -2. Oops, that was a turbo button. Still the turbo button. So, there, it trades with the 10 frame. And now, trying not to mess everything up. One last play. You can still do that if she's going for a high. So you don't necessarily lose your turn just because Cassandra threw out that soul charge move. Because Rising kicks in, or at least trades with the high. And if she's trying to outspeed you by going for that AA, you can low profile her with Rising B because her soul attack does force crouching. Anyway, wasted too much time on that. Next, let's go into her actual soul charge attacks. This is basically just a second hit to the regular BBB string. So now you just have a chance of getting a counter hit if you duck the third hit like you should have in the beginning. You can also sidestep still, but you're going to have to run all the way up and catch her if you go for the sidestep, because you will be too far away most of the time to get the G-fold spin into lethal hit G-fold B. Next up we have Cherub Sword, which is a really scary move. It's a quick low that combos into a mid, but she's very negative off that. So if you don't suck like me, you can get a pretty awesome punish. So don't be too scared to block low during soul charge, especially if she's favoring that. Next you have Cherub Blast, which is basically the end of the BBB string, except just right off the bat. And you can do the same thing, either sidestep and run up and catch her, because you're not going to make it with that. Or you can just duck, same as before. I think I've mentioned this, but it's important to learn to recognize the difference between the shield spin for the throw and that shield spin. Because while you can't sidestep the throw, you absolutely should sidestep this, or at least duck it. She does have an unblockable version, but you can still duck the unblockable version. You can also reliably sidestep it. Next she has Cherub Cyclone, which is a much scarier version of the back anti-crouch throw, but it's still a back tech, so it's still the same mix-up more or less as a regular throw against you crouching. It's just that the back throw option now has immediate damage, or more immediate damage I should say. By the time she's in soul charge, she might also be able to lethal hit you with the various front mount options though, so still a guessing game. So Cherub's Exile, if you try to punish after the first hit, you'll get hit, but I think it's important to note, you can see the flames way before you have to make that decision, so just wait and get the same punish you would normally get after Angel Step B anyway. This one, like Angel Step B, has a just frame version. The just frame version is not any safer. She's also got this. This one is super obnoxious. You probably recognize it. It is safe, and it is also plus. However, if she tries to do it twice in a row... 1 second. Oops. That's obnoxious. So there you have it. Doing that move repeatedly is not real, and it's wasting her guard stamina. It is kind of obnoxious, as you saw, that because she's an angelic twirl, it will parry the mid sometimes properly, especially since that parry like always whiffs. So if she's doing that repeatedly, you can catch her with that. Oops, gosh, I suck. Or just regular AA. Or a slower mid like 6B. But if she's not being a net play Cassandra, as you can see, even 5k gets counter hit. So depends on how smart or how brave the Cassandra is. She also has a version of this that's much bigger. Wouldn't you know it, that one is also plus unblock. But it's slower to start up, so you can mash out if you recognize the startup. And last but not least, we have Cherub Fall, which is this really cool looking leaping sword move. And you can sometimes react to it and get the lethal. That was more of a preemption though. By the time you recognize that it's that move, sometimes it's too late. So don't be afraid to take a little less damage if you see it. Since it is a break attack, sorry. If you're late with the reaction, you get hit sometimes. But it does look like it actually parries, even though it's a break attack. Which is interesting. Yeah, it's inconsistent. That's weird, because you saw it hit sometimes, and other times it successfully got parried by the spin. Maybe the break part comes in late, because as you see, it is a 2-hit, so it's possible that the initial mid is not a break attack, but the special mid is. In any case, it is rather risky to try Chief-hold spinning it unless you're very confident that you're reacting on time. Because look at these break attacks. If you just react to the flames, you might get guard broken or parry broken or whatever you want to call it. Last thing to cover is this 4B plus KB. The lethal condition is guard break, so careful about getting guard broken while she's in full charge, but sometimes things happen. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up Cassandra. I'll try to be a little more regular with these in the future after Evo Japan. Good luck to anybody who happens to be going to that. Sorry that I couldn't get this out in time for it to be useful. And have a good night, because it's midnight Korea time here.